Hello, welcome back. At her request, we passed a motion to give you 24 hours to reconsider before you receive your letter from Daystar. For years, Jonathan Lamb has remained silent, standing in the shadow of his family's legacy, never speaking out until now. The truth he just revealed about Joni Lamb has sent shockwaves through their devoted following, leaving many questioning everything they once believed. Secrets buried for years have finally come to light, exposing a side of Joni that few ever imagined. But why now? What pushed Jonathan to break his silence after all this time? And what exactly has he uncovered that has people reeling in disbelief? The answers might not be what you expect, and they might change everything. Stay with us as we dive into the startling revelation that has everyone talking. For years, Joni Lamb has been one of the most recognizable faces in Christian broadcasting, a woman whose presence on Daystar television brought faith, inspiration, and guidance to millions. To the outside world, she represented unwavering devotion, an advocate for righteousness, family values, and spiritual integrity. But behind the perfect image, behind the well-rehearsed sermons and polished television appearances, whispers of a very different reality have begun to emerge. Whispers that suggest a hidden side to Joni Lamb, one that contradicts everything she preached. The first signs of trouble were subtle, strange inconsistencies that didn't quite fit with her public persona. At first, they seemed like baseless rumors, easily dismissed as the usual gossip that follows any influential figure. But as time went on, the whispers grew louder, more detailed, and harder to ignore. Former associates, industry insiders, and even those once close to her began speaking about a private world that few were ever allowed to see, one that didn't align with the moral purity she projected on screen. According to sources who claim to have witnessed it firsthand, Joni's personal life was far more complex and indulgent than she led people to believe. There were reports of secret meetings, private gatherings where the rules seemed different from the strict values she upheld in public. Some even suggested that Joni Lamb maintained relationships that would shock her most devoted followers, relationships that directly contradicted the image she worked so hard to maintain. One of the most persistent rumors revolves around the idea that Joni's influence extended far beyond the Daystar studios, reaching into spaces that many would never associate with a woman of faith. Some claimed that behind closed doors, she enjoyed a level of freedom and control that few in the religious broadcasting world ever suspected. There are stories of her using her power to silence those who questioned her, of individuals who tried to speak out but found themselves suddenly cut off from the Christian media industry. Even more disturbing are the claims that certain people in Joni's inner circle knew the truth all along but were too afraid to speak. The fear of retaliation, of losing everything they had worked for, kept them silent for years. Some reportedly signed agreements to protect her secrets, while others simply chose to walk away rather than expose what they had seen. The whispers pointed to extravagant spending, luxury purchases, and hidden transactions, all of which stood in stark contrast to the humble, faith-driven image she presented to the world. One of the most shocking claims came from someone who once worked closely with Joni at Daystar. According to this insider, there were times when she seemed to live two completely separate lives, one devoted to faith and ministry, and another that operated under a different set of rules, a world where personal desires took precedence over moral standards. The rumors only grew stronger after her husband Marcus Lamb passed away. Some speculated that without him as the face of the ministry, Joni's control over Daystar became more absolute, allowing her to shape the network entirely in her own vision. There were whispers that the people who had once held her accountable were no longer in positions of power, that she had surrounded herself with individuals who would never challenge her authority. And then there were the allegations about personal relationships. Some claimed that Joni's private life involved encounters and interactions that would leave her followers in absolute shock. It wasn't just about power or influence. It was about hidden desires, secret meetings, and a double life that few ever saw up close. There were even whispers that certain individuals had been personally invited into her private world, only to later regret what they had seen. As the rumors continued to spread, the biggest question became, how much of this was true? Was Joni Lamb really living a secret life, or was this just another attempt to bring down a powerful figure in Christian media? The problem was, the more people investigated, the harder it became to dismiss the claims as baseless gossip. Too many sources, too many unexplained details, and too many whispers that seemed to connect back to the same story. What made it all even more shocking was the fact that Joni had spent her career speaking out against the very behaviors she was now being accused of. She had preached about purity, about the dangers of temptation, about the importance of living a life that honored God. If the rumors were true, it meant that everything her followers believed about her was a lie. The scandal has now reached a boiling point, with many demanding answers. Some of her most loyal supporters refuse to believe a word of it, convinced that this is nothing more than an attack on a strong woman of faith. Others, however, are beginning to question everything. How could someone who spoke so passionately about Christian values be involved in such allegations? How could someone who claimed to be a guiding light for millions be hiding so much in the shadows? As more details come to light, one thing is certain. This story is far from over. If the rumors are true, Joni Lamb's legacy may never recover. If they are false, then the question remains, why have so many people come forward with the same stories? The world is watching, waiting for the truth to be revealed. And whatever that truth may be, it is bound to change everything. The weight of the rumors surrounding Joni Lamb has reached a level that no one could have anticipated. For years, she was seen as an unshakable pillar of faith, a woman who carried the torch of her late husband's ministry and continued to lead Daystar television as one of the most influential Christian broadcasters in the world. But now, the once clear image of her perfect reputation has been clouded by whispers of scandal, secrecy, and deception. The biggest question on everyone's mind is simple. What happens now? The speculation, the rumors, and the allegations have all taken on a life of their own. Even those who once defended Joni without question can no longer ignore the growing uncertainty. It's not just about the accusations anymore. It's about how much silence surrounds them. The longer she refuses to directly address the controversy, the deeper the doubts become. Daystar itself now faces one of the greatest challenges in its history. The network, once seen as a beacon of Christian television, is under immense pressure. Sponsors, churches, and even longtime supporters of the ministry are questioning whether they can continue to stand behind a platform that refuses to answer the questions that won't go away. Some churches have quietly begun pulling Daystar's programming from their networks, hesitant to associate their congregations with an organization surrounded by so much uncertainty. Financially, there is concern that the ongoing controversy will begin to impact the ministry's revenue. While Daystar has a loyal following, the more conservative members of its audience have expressed deep disappointment in Joni's refusal to confront the allegations head-on. Some donors have already withdrawn their financial support, waiting to see if she will finally break her silence and offer an explanation that can put an end to the swirling speculation. But perhaps the most damaging aspect of this entire situation is the impact it has had on Joni's credibility. For decades, she stood in front of the camera speaking to millions about truth, righteousness, and the importance of living a life devoted to faith. Now, those same followers are left wondering, was it all just a carefully crafted illusion? If even a fraction of the rumors are true, what does that say about the ministry she has led for so many years?